Hi, I'm Claudia Brown Coulter with Pivotal Peace. Today, let's talk about your IEP and your divorce. Well, your child's IEP and your divorce, or IEPs in general, because when people are going through a divorce, they disagree. But it's not like they walked into the divorce and were like, oh, wait, we're in the middle of the divorce now. Let's start disagreeing. No, they disagreed long before that, and they disagreed long about what's happening with their kids before that. It could be that a parent was just checked out and was like, they can deal with that. But now that they're getting a divorce, they can't afford to be that way anymore. But whatever reason you're here, we need to talk about who has the decision ability and the final say when it comes to special education and an IEP or the 504. So let's get clarity on this. When you go through a divorce, one of the things that is asking for you on the forms to identify is what type of physical custody do you have and what type of legal custody do you have. Now, in some states, they make you define which part of the legal custody you have. In California, it's either joint or sole. That's it. That is it. You could get into more details, but if you just go on basic forms, it's joint or sole. That's all. That's all she wrote, folks. So most of you have joint legal custody. And what that means, you have rights to make decisions about medical care, not usually routine medical care, not unilateral decisions, emergency medical care. You have the rights to do that. You have rights around their religious upbringing. You have educational rights. And this is really important if your child has any sort of special need, but really school in general, education rights are really important. Just because a parent has sole physical custody does not mean that they have sole legal custody. Now, unless somebody's parental rights have been waived, taken care of, revoked, removed, the other person usually has some sort of legal rights. I see it a lot of times where one person gets sole physical custody, but they have joint legal custody. That can be a problem if you and your spouse never agree about anything and they're halfway across the country and they have legal rights to what happens in education. Hopefully they're not a jerk about it, but they could be. So you want to be careful when it comes to that type of wording. Sometimes divorcing parents, they disagree. At the IEP table, it's real fun. It's real fun, especially for the IEP team, who the rest of the team, they're just like, what are we supposed to do with this situation? It's like they might as well gotten popcorn and their slippers and started watching the stories or something, because that's what you're putting on for them. It's not a good look. If you can't agree, if you've signed to test but your soon-to-be ex revokes that, what is the school supposed to do? What is the school supposed to do? Who suffers in this situation? I'm not even going to answer that question. You should know who suffers in that type of situation. But disagreements are common. And a lot of times in a marriage, one spouse will leave these types of decisions to the other spouse. So they're making these decisions and either that spouse doesn't know or doesn't care. But now a divorce has come along and they realize, oh, wait, what? I don't think I agree with this. And a lot of times they're out of touch. From my experience, when a parent hasn't had any involvement in special education and then they come in and they're not happy with anything, they want to be in control, or they're just out of touch. They're not in reality about what their child is actually able to do. And it could be an ego thing of not my child, don't put this label on my child. Screw the labels. It's about getting your child the support that they need so they can be successful adults. That's the goal. Who cares what they're labeled? Get them the help they need. So points where people tend to disagree are on, do they need to do a 504 or an IEP? Or not at all. Not at all. My kid doesn't need that at all. Okay. They may disagree, yeah, like on qualifying for services. Sometimes though, the parents disagree together against the school and go, they want outside testing. That's okay. It is absolutely okay if you and your spouse or soon-to-be ex are in lockstep with your disagreement with the district. You guys are together. You're a unit. Like, this is some bull from the district. Great. The district can work with that. They can't work with this. They can't work with that. People disagree on whether this placement is appropriate. They disagree about what type of support is needed, what type of therapies is needed, how many minutes. These people, they are there to serve your child, but they are not there. They're not mediators. They're not divorce mediators. They're not there to deal with your conflict and try to appease you. Their job is not to help you, it's to help your kid. If the disagreement is to a point where testing has taken place and the LEA, the local education agency, the school district, the school, does not agree with your disagreement, and they have a placement for the child, they could put your child in special education because that's where they need to be based on all the data. They probably won't because they don't want to deal with you. The other thing they could do is if you fight them on all those types of things, they could take you to due process. That's going to be expensive. They probably won't, but they could. They could. But I'm going to ask you again, who suffers from all of this? So you've got to avoid these power struggles because you have to focus on your child's needs, not what's right. So I remember during the pandemic, our kids' school was closed. All of our kids' schools were closed. He was at a private school, and the private school, they were ready to come back. It was early. It was like September of 2020, actually. Yes, it was September of 2020. We're coming back in person. Now, my ex-husband was like, no, we're not. I was like, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. And then the school was like, oh, that's okay. You can pay his tuition and you can homeschool him. And my ex-husband was like, the hell we are. We're teaching full-time online. And it was true. We were on this all day long. And the year went on. I'm on here. His dad's in his house on his computer. And our 6-year-old is like spinning on the floor and in class and finishing work. Like, it was crazy and nuts. And he wanted us to homeschool. At least he was in online school. But then, so this was later, but so we're in this and we realized, okay, we got to stop at this private school. And my ex-husband began to just make these decisions quickly. And I didn't want to let that go because I'm like, oh, he is so afraid. He is just like, our kid is going to be fine. Just have a little bit of faith. And he would have been fine. He would have been fine. But good God, just have a little faith. But no. We had to pull him out of that school. We had to put him in public school. We have to put him in this school. And I was not happy about it. I felt railroaded. And I had to stop. I actually had to stop and pray and calm myself down. I wanted to be right. Guess who was right? He was right. I was not right. I will tell anybody. I talked to somebody last night and be like, oh yeah, this is how we ended up at this school. I didn't want to go, but he was right. And he was standing right there. He was right. When you are making these decisions about your child, it is not about being right. You have to let your own ego go. You have to let your own sense of what is right go. What if somebody is more right than you? What if somebody has the knowledge and information that you don't currently possess? And that other person could very likely be their other parent. Why would God give them two parents and one is stupid and one is smart? No, you both have wisdom and knowledge about your child. You have to let the other person parent. So while I was butthurt about that school, that was a wise decision he made. It was smart. Our child has benefited from that. But I had to let my own ego go. My ears are burning because I'm telling you all this business about myself. They're turning red. I'm a little embarrassed. But I had to let it go and not focus about me being right. Because I wasn't. I was wrong. So you have to have enough humility to go, what if I'm wrong in this situation? What if this other parent is right? So some things that can help you in this battle, to avoid the struggles, is to prep. Have a conversation. What are our shared goals and concerns? Forget labels. Forget services. What does our kid need? What will help them be successful? If you need to, if the IEPs are contentious, you can ask for a mediator or an independent facilitator. They probably won't provide it. It would be better if you guys as a couple come to a mediator to actually help you mediate before you go there so that you guys can get on the same page. If you know you're not going to agree, then in your parenting plan and your divorce, put some educational protocols in there, some tie-breaking rules, some things that you guys can decide upon of, okay, when it comes to medical decisions, parent A is always going to make these decisions. And if they don't hear from parent B, they have unilateral control. I'm just making this stuff up as I go. You guys decide. Or it could be like, and then in educational decisions, parent B will always have the authority to approve or deny services without input from parent A, if there's no input from parent A within 30 days or whatever. People do all kinds of things. I'm just throwing stuff out there, throwing it against the wall and see what sticks. But you can get more nuanced. You can go beyond just a blanket joint legal custody, but you have to get detailed in your plan of what are these rights going to be for our child. It is much better if both parents can get on the same page about the needs of their child, because then both parents can support that child when they are with them in their care, in their custodial care. Use outside experts. Use the professionals in the room. Make sure they have the data to back up their claims. This is not about feelings or anything like that. It's cold, hard data. So make sure they have the cold, hard data to back up what they're saying about what your child does or does not need. But rely on them. Rely on their expertise. If they're making a recommendation, there's a potential that it could be right. If you're concerned about that, then you might want to seek outside experts, an independent evaluation, maybe a special education advocate who can help you know, is this normal or not normal? Is this good or not good? And really can help you make these decisions. The most important thing is getting on the same page with your soon-to-be ex. It might seem hard, but it doesn't have to be hard because you both love your children now. Before you be like, yeah, but I love my baby more. Maybe. But you both love your kid. And most parents do right by their kids. Not everybody. Most parents do right by their kids. So give them a chance to do right. So what can schools do and can't do? They can't get in the middle. They cannot take sides. They cannot be like, okay, parent B wants to do this and I'm in agreement with parent B, so we're just going to do that. Not if parent A revokes it. Their hands in a lot of respects are tied because you guys are so busy fighting. And once again, who is suffering? There is only one right answer. It's your child. Your child is suffering. They have to involve both parents. Now, a lot of times they can get away with it because they're married and just one parent shows up. That one parent shows up. That one parent shows up. But as soon as they know there's a divorce going on, that other person that they didn't even, you really do have a mother. You really do have a father. I've never seen them before. They're there. They're at the meetings. They have to invite them to the meetings. They have to get their signatures. The school is going to assume that both parents have joint legal custody unless there's a court order. They're not going to take your word for it unless there's a court order to say otherwise. And they're going to be watching you if you are just unilaterally blocking support and care for your child just because you don't like your soon-to-be ex. They probably will take you to due process then because you're actively hurting your child. Don't do that. So dealing with any sort of school situation involving an IEP or a 504 is stressful, and then you put a divorce on top of it, that's also stressful. Do not be afraid to go and ask for help. Have a free consultation. Get some ideas of how you can move forward in your divorce, in your life, with your child's IEP, and live happily ever after apart. It is possible. It can happen. I can help you. It can help you have these conversations, whether that's a conversation at the IEP table or a conversation just between the three of us, you, me, your soon-to-be ex, so that we can help get on the same page about your child and their needs. It is possible. Do not lose hope. Remember, you are your child's best and first advocate, and they need you, so do not give up on this. You can make it. Take care of your babies. They're going to thank you for it. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you soon.